This movie's kind of like an episode of Hercules. It even has Tony Todd, but he's in everything. Whether it's a villain in The Flash, the brother of Worf in Star Trek The Next Generation, or the Candyman himself. In this he plays Deucalion, the leader of the Empire of the Bull.
Minotaur! I'm here, Minotaur.
They worship the bull so much that their queen has implied sex with one, and after a 13-month pregnancy, they cut it out of her, killing her as to not harm the new prince. I checked with my fact checker. He says this is common practice in the Middle Ages. I did not say that. So let's review Minotaur. Also starring Rutger Hauer, who you might know from Blade Runner, but he's in a shit ton of other films. He plays Cyrnan, the chieftain of a small village, and father to Theo, played by Tom Hardy.
We ask forgiveness for our sin. Take the first 8 youths you find, and I want no more from your dark spirit.
Now every 3 years, 8 youths are taken in a disorganized manner by soldiers from the ships of the Empire of the Bull. The 5th sacrifice draws near. That's 32 kids already. The village is not that big. Theo lost his love in the last sacrifice, but because of the leper who lives in a cave on the outside of the village told him that if he slays the Minotaur, he can get her back. So instead of hiding, which is what he's supposed to do so that he can grow old and become the chieftain of his village, he decides to replace one of the selected.
Is that a way to greet a friend?
Sending 3 ships for 8 children seems like a waste of resources, so I'm not sure how this empire is doing so well. A little boat ride later and they're in Deucalion's throne room, watching him get high on these fumes that come from the labyrinth below. He really shouldn't. Also, I say labyrinth, it's really just a small series of tunnels, but this movie only has a $7 million budget, so props to what they did accomplish.
Take those sweet eyes from me before I pluck them out, boy.
Now, although everybody's inhaling the same gas, it seems to have different effects for everyone. For Deucalion, it gets him high. For Theo, it makes him hallucinate and choke. And for timid virgin girls, it makes them slutty. And apparently tastes better for the Minotaur. I didn't know that was a thing.
Make him stop, Theo.
No.
For whatever reason, they're not sacrificed right away, so the Princess Raphaella has time to meet with Theo privately. He learns a lot from her throughout this movie, like the Minotaur was a bad prince, that it killed her brother and was banished to the labyrinth below, and that his village was blamed for it, thus the sacrifices. She wants it destroyed too, but then Deucalion interrupts her and
I will corrupt you with every soldier and slave in the palace. I will cast you to the lepers, then will come the bull.
But he's just saying that because he's upset. He wants to be with her too. Hey, no judgment. I mean, maybe you wouldn't feel so lonely if you didn't convince your wife to mate with a bull and then kill her. I'm just saying.
Suckled on the blood of its own mother.
So everyone is lowered into the labyrinth at different points. But there's only 2 ways out. And they all make way too much noise. And one of them is gored horribly. Maybe they shouldn't give away their position. As for the others down there, there's Tyro, who hates Theo because they both love the same girl. But he finally notices Didi, who can't find a man despite the fact that she's hot. She actually even tried to sleep with Theo because his father told her to.
I will take us from here.
Then I will be with you.
But no more rejection for Didi. She's finally found herself a man who will care for her, who will love her, who will... Danu is Theo's best friend, and he has a hot girlfriend too, played by McCoy, who I only know from BBC's The Three Musketeers. She's a mute, and she has to sign with Danu all the time and can't even say his name, until the stressful situation comes around. Now, she can talk. Maybe it's the gas fumes. Or maybe she just doesn't like Danu. Maybe she thinks she can do better than him. Well, good news for her.
No, it is not your time yet! I'm sorry, Danu!
I like Vena, played by Fiona Maclaine, and not because she had a great character, mostly because of her little fuck you all speech.
I care for none of you, or the village. I feel shame I was born there. And if you all die here, then good.
When the princess jumps down to avoid sleeping with Deucalion, Tony Todd is on point, giving an emotional performance within this misguided character. The Minotaur is considered a prince, a god, but it's really just a beast. And it would have been a lot more interesting if it demonstrated more thought. It had a human mother, so it should have showed compassion towards the princess. Maybe smelt the same blood in her, but we never got that. Just the primal beast. But the positive in that was that it was worship, which shows the mentality of the Minoan Empire. They could have done a lot more with it. It could have been a scary thing, which added a lot more horror aspect to it.
It can't be you.
It is me. Touch. See into my heart.
No.
As for Theo, he hallucinates that he sees his lost love, but she dead. It really becomes more about freeing her spirit and avenging her death for the guilt that he's been carrying around for not acting before. Theo tricks the Minotaur into smashing into a wall where the fumes are coming from. Then he causes a spark and jumps into a convenient pool of water. The explosion rocks the throne room, injuring Deucalion, and badly burns the beast, but it still requires killing. Okay, so it no longer requires killing. Theo, Morna, the princess, and Rat Boy, a guy they found down there in the caves, very unimportant, eats rats, that's why they call him Rat Boy, all survive. And then the princess gives Deucalion some comforting words.
Be afraid. The darkness awaits you.
Solid work by his loyal guards just standing there and watching. So I guess she gets control of this evil empire, maybe to change its ways. Kind of a rewardless ending for Theo though. There's a few aspects of this film that could have been explored and expanded upon and elevated above where it sits. But we don't know what the script looked like and if they didn't shoot the script exactly because of the budget constraints. And I was pretty impressed with what they did with the budget.
Kill the beast. The Minotaur.
I'm gonna kill the both.
Minotaur.
They used a lot of practical effects in this, so we didn't get a lot of bad CGI shots, and the landscapes were pretty impressive. I'd really love to see a remake of this with a bit more of a budget. With a little fine-tuning, this could have been a great movie. Instead, it was just a good movie, completely watchable, but could have been better. Well, as always, thanks for watching.
Behold, young shepherd. Behold your God. His name is Minotaur.